Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. You're here again today with me, Jochebet Isaacs. So this is lesson 5 of our Preparing for School series, and we will be talking all about independence. Now, schools typically require students to be quite independent in areas especially like toileting and eating. We have also identified a few more areas our kiddos need to be independent in, such as following the school's routines and transitions, following instructions, perhaps occupying free time appropriately, self-help skills such as toileting and washing hands, and eating. Now let's look at some of the important tips to take note of when you're helping your child's independence. Always ensure that any area of independence taught should be broken down into smaller steps. Then each learning is paired with reinforcement and sufficient practices are provided. A few key areas of breaking skills down is to ensure that you practice at home first, and most importantly to use visuals to support your child's independence. Why this is so important is because a child can learn to follow a visual independently, and we can then fade ourselves back out. And so let's firstly look at the independence area of following the school's routines and transitions. It could be activities within the class, like going from one station to another, or it could be transitioning from classroom time to recess time. Using the visuals we talked about in lesson 4 would really help guide our kiddos. Initially, we may need to teach them where the different locations are and may need to even guide and prompt them. But eventually, we start to fade back and just allow our student to follow the schedule or follow their classmates, or they may just memorize the transition and be completely independent with it. Next up is following instructions. Now this can be a bit difficult initially because some of our kiddos may genuinely find it difficult to understand the instructions. So again, we would recommend that there is a visual of the expectations which needs to be adapted to your child's needs. And essentially, it would be to stay focused on the teacher, listen to the teacher, and complete their work. However, oftentimes, our school shadow would first need to break the instructions down and would usually write them up visually with a checkbox beside the visual instructions in order for our kiddo to be able to follow along. Then it's the ability to occupy free time meaningfully. This includes waiting times, especially after completing work or after snack time. These are often the times when our kiddos may start to participate in a bit of self-stimulatory behavior or perhaps other inappropriate behavior, simply because they may just not know how to utilize that free time. Now, in our therapy sessions, we try to teach our kiddos independent tasks. And in a school setting, a child may need to actually be taught what they can do in those free times. For example, read a book or ask for another activity. Or if it's break time, maybe you can go play in the playground. Now, a way to help a child be independent in this would be to have, again, clear communication of options. You can use a social story or a visual choice board, and initially the child's shadow may need to prompt the child that it's free time and to choose an appropriate activity. As usual, this also needs to be reinforced as it is a skill that the child is learning. Then in the area of toileting, this has to have been taught at home. And then in a school setting, it would be more to just build tolerance to using the toilets in school, as well as the independence to request for the toilet. For some of our kiddos, it is as simple as showing them where the toilets are and having a toilet visual on their desk to remind them to be able to request for the toilet. However, some of our kiddos have genuine tolerance issues with new toilets, and so they would need to have practice using different toilets in the community and then generalizing to school as well. If there are students that struggle to identify when they need to go to the toilet, then oftentimes school teachers just remind everyone in class to stop at the toilet before break time or after break time, and so it's more of a routine. Lastly would be in the area of eating. Again, this should have been mastered in the home or therapy setting, from the routine of washing hands to feeding themselves and finishing their meal. In school, however, there can be the additional challenge of sitting in a crowded canteen and also the school mealtime policy if they require students to line up to get their meals, or if the meals are already set on the canteen table by classes, and also if the food has already been paid for or if the students need to pay on their own. Again, this has to be adapted to each child's abilities and in accordance to the school policies. Many kiddos we work with have had to work through flexibility in their food repertoire, and so to keep things simple, our kiddos may need to bring their own snacks and lunches, and then they can build up the tolerance to being able to eat the school lunches. Alright, it's your turn. So firstly, assess your child's independence in the following areas: following the school routines and transitions, following instructions, occupying free time appropriately, toileting, eating. Does your child need to strengthen their independence in any of these areas, or perhaps there are other areas not mentioned? Then you want to start to prepare the necessary materials and practice at home in order to set your child up to be successful in school. Okay, well that's all for our lesson on independence. In the next lesson, we will talk about behavior regulation. Stay tuned and we will see you soon.
Thank you very much for your support, and with the amount of interest we have received online, we have actually started providing online services and currently work with clients in other states of Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, China and Brunei. Get in touch with us for more information by scanning this QR code.
If you haven't already, do check out our online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the lesson videos, corresponding articles, and downloadables available for you for free. Stay updated through social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Do click on the subscribe and follow buttons to get more information. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye!